So let's start talking about the New York Jets because
Right.
they've got the second overall pick in Zach Wilson. And let's hear from Zach Wilson on winning the starting job and also one of his teammates on Zach Wilson's early leadership. Chris, here they are.
In this position, the coaches want to play the best player, and that position's got to be earned. I got to go in there and I got to make sure I do what I'm supposed to do, and that'll take care of itself.
Talking to him on the phone, I could tell he's like a general, and just by what he was saying, and he's just super excited to be here as well. His passion comes out through the phone, and I'm ready just to watch him look pretty throwing me balls.
Yeah, the last thing I want to hear about is a Jets quarterback being excited to be there 41 times over. That brings back memories of another Jets quarterback who wasn't there for very long, but he was extremely excited to be there about 9 years ago. As to Zach Wilson, he talked about having to earn the starting job, Chris. There's no competition for the starting job.
Right.
James Morgan and another guy whose name I think is Mike something, that's it. That's all they have. They don't even have a veteran. If Zach Wilson can't win that starting job, he never should have been the second overall pick, much less a second-round pick, much less a third or a fourth-round pick.
No, well, I don't think you got to worry about that. He's going to win the job. I mean, first off, if you just watch the local news up here, like how excited they were about him, like, well, what he brings to the field. And, just from conversations of people that I know around the Jets, there was excitement about him, about what he looks like in person, how the ball pops out of his hands. Like, whoa. Yeah, it's a little different. It's even better than what I thought in person than what it was on film and all those type of things. But yeah, Mike, he's the second pick of the draft. They're going to roll out the red carpet. He's going to get the reps, all the work, get all like the mental reps, everything like that. And they're going to go down with Zach Wilson. Now, I would expect at some point that they do bring in some sort of veteran-type quarterback to be the backup for him. And like we always talk about, it's good to have that guy too, just because – have somebody there to kind of lay the groundwork or a foundation of how you should work, young rookie. And this is what we do. I know I've spoken in the past about Brad Johnson and other guys I had in front of me. The example they set was the biggest thing for me. Oh, wait, okay, this is what a starting quarterback does? You do this now? All right, no, wait, we broke the meeting. Now you go and study more or watch more film? Okay. And those are the things that they need a veteran presence in the room for. But you're right, Mike. He's the guy, and he's going to get all the reps because of that, and there is going to be no competition. They're not even going to try to pretend about that.
I really am amazed that the NFL is now drafting 13-year-olds on teams.
I know. It's funny. He is young looking.
My God. Now, when you hear Elijah Moore, another member of the Jets draft class, praise the leadership attributes of Zach Wilson, that's one thing. What's the difference between showing up at rookie minicamp where you're clearly the king? You're the guy. Everyone's going to look to you because you were the second overall pick in the draft. When the veterans start to show up, assuming that some do, whether it's the remainder of the voluntary portion or the mandatory minicamp, that's when they all will be there.
Right.
When everyone's there, what's the difference between acting like the alpha among your fellow rookies where you're ordained the alpha and acting that way when the guys who have been in the league 5, 7, 10 years roll in?
Yeah, you got to know your role is a little different. Like, you might be able to be more the vocal, hey, guys, follow me, do this type of stuff during rookie minicamp, right? When it comes veteran time and the veterans come around for whatever it is, the mandatory minicamp or an OTA session, whatever that is, yeah, that's where you want to be strong and confident as a young quarterback. You still want to be a leader, stick out your hand, say hello to guys, but you're not going to be the one that's like, hey, guys, bring it up. I'm going to break you down. I'm 3 Jets. No, you're not going to do any of that. You kind of have to take a little bit of a back seat and kind of feel the room, gauge the room. Who are the leaders? Who should I listen and follow to here? And you just kind of look to be a part of the team that way. And slowly you'll indoctrinate yourself into knowing the guys and becoming the leader of the football team. The guys want you to be the leader. They know he's the number 2 pick. He's the quarterback and all of those type of things. But he's just got to kind of become one of the guys, show that he knows what he's doing on the football field, show his talents a little bit. And slowly but surely he'll start to take over that room and that offense as it goes by.
You've told us before the way you were welcomed to Tampa by Warren Sapp and the way that the rookies tend to get treated. When Cadillac Williams showed up a couple of years later as the 5th overall pick,
it's different.
Does he get that same kind of treatment? Is there, based upon how high you're drafted, that's how less you're treated like, the standard run-of-the-mill third-round quarterback who has to supply Warren Sapp with his Copenhagen?
Yeah, no, it's a different league you're in. When you're Cadillac Williams, or we had Mike Clayton, the great receiver from LSU who came down to us, as a top 15 pick. Yeah, they're going to get treated they're the shiny new toy for the whole organization, let alone like in the locker room. Yeah, you get a different level of respect being that first round pick. This guy's got some like special physical attributes that he can bring to the team and help us out to win football games and do all that. But also within being the first pick, how special that guy is to the coaching staff and the front office. So you're not going to be a jerk or an ass to him. Sorry for lack of a better phrase, because of that type of stuff. And as long as you show respect a little bit, again, as that first round pick, and you're willing to work, then you become one of the guys really quick. But yes, there is a different level of conversation with the first round pick, the second round pick, as compared to maybe the 5th rounder who might have to earn his stripes a little bit more than those top guys.
You came so close to giving us a Monday Morning Simmsism before you corrected yourself. Attribute would have been a good one.
Yeah.
Attribute. Attribute is what you wear on your leg when you injure your calf muscle jumping on and off a treadmill, I think.
Is that what that is?
That's how I'll define attribute. Yeah, that's the special kind of boot that you use.
Yeah.
Yes.
Astrobute.
Yeah, but you did. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You heard it and you fixed it. And I'm sure that at some point later this week when we're sitting here waiting for the show to begin, that's on the radar screen of clips that you never know when they're going to resurface again.
Yeah, definitely.
With some of these other quarterbacks, there really is a question when we're going to see them. We talked about that some last week. I think Peter and I talked about it on Friday. You and I talked about it earlier in the week. The 3 guys taken after the first 2, but for the first 2, there's nothing to be earned. There's no lower rung on the depth chart where you can put Trevor Lawrence. I mean, I guess they could put him behind Gardner Minshew. You can't put Zach Wilson behind anybody, though.
No.
And I don't know that it really matters. I think part of the convention for NFL teams is to bury the first-round quarterback on the depth chart and let him climb so he can build some confidence, and so the teammates kind of organically realize this is why the guy was brought in here. But with Wilson, that's just not the case. I don't care who they add as a veteran, and they're talking about bringing in a veteran. Who the hell's out there? Brian Hoyer, all due respect? I mean, if Zach Wilson can't walk through the door and be better than Brian Hoyer, again, why were you a first-round pick? So, those top 2 guys, and they will play this year. We'll find out Wednesday night when Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson will meet each other. But it won't be like it was, a couple of years ago when it was, what was the game? There were some games that were coming up, and it's like, will the guy be a star? Oh, it was Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield,
and Sam Darnold, yes, exactly.
Yeah, week 3, but we didn't know.
Tyrod hurt
whether or not they'd be starting.
Wrist, right.
Yeah,
Tyrod hurt his wrist. Baker got to come in during that game. He wasn't starting. He got to play, and he took over from that point on. But yeah, no, this is a different set of circumstances. You're right, Mike. I mean, this is more of like, no, there's nobody here. And no, we're not going to like toy around with, Gardner Minshew or James Morgan get the first team reps. No, they haven't earned enough stripes or done enough and just aren't physically talented enough to even like warrant putting guys like Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson behind them for a few days just to say, oh, hey, he earned it. Look at that. No, they're just going to – these are the situations. It's more like a Peyton Manning back in the day with the Colts. They've anointed these 2 the kings, and they're going to get reps and reps and reps and reps. And that's how they're going to try to teach them football by like, hey, we're not worried about anybody else in here. Got any other quarterback. Oh, we got to give this guy, we got to give our older veteran 10 reps this period because he might be the starter week 1. So let's do that. No. Zach Wilson and Trevor Lawrence, if there's a period in practice, Mike, where they have 20 plays during that period, they're going to get 15 out of the 20 reps. and then the other guy's going to get a handful, and that's going to be it. And that's where they're going to get their learning from right now. But you'd like to see a veteran around either one of them just going forward.
You know, another reality of this Trevor Lawrence and Zach Wilson dynamic, there really wasn't, as Matt Casey pointed out, any question. There was no question. Not even really wasn't. There was no question. Lawrence was going to the Jaguars.
Yeah.
And once it became clear that that's where the Jets were going with Wilson, he got locked in there. There was never any hesitation, any question, any Manning versus Leaf type of debate between Lawrence and Wilson. So it doesn't make it as dramatic and compelling when they get together, because no one's going to be thinking, well, you know what, the Jaguars really thought about taking Zach Wilson, and Zach Wilson came down here and kicked the crap out of the Jaguars. Now, that doesn't mean that people won't say maybe they should have, but it's not the same should have
right.
as if they did, if they were going back and forth and they agonized over the decision and they didn't make up their mind until the morning of the draft. I mean, that's one of the reasons why the 49ers have invited this comparison between Trey Lance, Mac Jones, Justin Fields, because they did publicly, even though they claim they didn't, agonize over who they were going to take. You put more attention on those other guys. It's just not an issue.
No.
Number one versus number two, when they get together this year, Jets, Jaguars, that's otherwise a game you'd look at and say, what else is on? The reason to watch it is you see the top two picks in the draft. We saw it with Marcus Mariota and Jameis Winston week 1 in 2015. They were both starting.
Right.
So even if this is week 1, we'll see them, and it'll be interesting, and that's just check the first box,
That's
who wins
it.
that game, and see whether or not they'll be meeting again in games that count the most in January. That's what both of these teams are hoping, Wilson and Lawrence getting together on a regular basis in January.
Yeah, there was no debate here. You're right. It was no Manning and Leaf or Mariota and Winston or Goff or Wentz. Like, none of that here. You're right. We knew Trevor Lawrence was going to Jacksonville the day Urban Meyer took the job. I mean, that was like, bam, it's over. So when they meet this year, it's going to be more about like just who's got the brighter, shinier new toy. It's not going to be about like, oh, we picked the right one, you picked the wrong one. None of that. Now, if the Jets fans and Zach Wilson have a good game and he starts to, show off and do stuff like that, the Jacksonville Jaguar fans are going to hear about it, and it's going to get rubbed in their face a little bit, and then you're going to start to hear was Jacksonville wrong to take Trevor Lawrence number 1? I mean, yeah, that conversation is going to get started if that's the way the year starts out in general. That's the only way they're going to be tied to each other. But you're right. There's no you should pick this guy or we should have picked that guy. That didn't happen, which is kind of rare when it's this kind of scenario.
Meanwhile, you mentioned Gardner Minshew, and
yeah,
it's been very quiet about what they're going to do with him. I will say this, without mentioning he who shall not be named, they're going to need to clear him off the roster so 15 is available for someone who may be signed sooner rather than later. Who would
the great Prayer King is coming to Jacksonville.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.